Just weird.
Okay.
I don't know when to do the square.
All right. So let's take a look at. Let's take a look at my back is frozen. Let's see if it decides to join us.
It's all just different.
Of course, the back does not want to work when I need it to work. That's my retirement that they're telling me I'm short nine days on, which don't even. Oh, that's your exam schedule.
Oh, not already.
Yeah, that's exam. Crazy to think, right? Okay. So let's start with the homework from last night. And let's start with the first couple. You were asked to factor completely. Now, remember, what is the first rule of factoring? First rule of factoring is we do what? GCF. After you look for a GCF, you ask yourself, do I have a binomial, a trinomial, or 4 terms? If you have a binomial, you ask yourself, do I have a difference of squares, a plus b, a minus b, a difference of cubes, or a sum of cubes? That's your SOAP formula. Your SOAP formula. So, how did you guys do on 11 and 15? Does anybody need me to do either one of those for you? Which one did you say was the hard one, AJ?
31.
31. Okay. How about 11 and 15?
Good.
Good? All right. How about these ones? Now, factor completely. This was 4 terms. What do we do if we have 4 terms? Group them. The only thing was you weren't done, okay, on 23. Because once you got to x minus 8, x squared minus 4, you always got to say, can I keep going? If it's linear, it's done, but x squared minus 4, you had to keep going into x plus 2, x minus 2. Paige asked a great question. She said, does it matter what order my factors are in? And the answer is no. You do not have to have them in the same order that I have them on my answer key.
So I can have that. Yours is x minus 8 at the beginning. I can have that at the end.
Yep, absolutely. If you have x plus 2, x minus 2, x minus 8, or if you have the x minus 2 first and the x plus 2, it doesn't matter. Any orders, as long as you have those 3 factors, x plus 2, x minus 2, and x minus 8. Okay? Anybody else? All righty. Now, these ones. Factor completely. Okay, so remember, on this one, we said we can factor a trinomial if the degrees go 4-2 constant, 6-3 constant, 8-4 constant. You factor it like you've been factoring. So that one factored into c squared plus 4, c squared plus 5, and then you were done. You were done. 31's the one you said you didn't like? Okay. So first thing I did on 31 is I asked myself, do I have a GCF? So did anything go into 16 and 625?
No.
No. So now I said, okay, I have a binomial. I have a minus. I've got to see, do I have a difference of squares or do I have a difference of cubes? Squares. Now, I'm kind to you on the numbers that I give to you on the test, but this one I think you should know. What multiplies together to give you 16z to the 4th? 4z squared. And then what multiplied together to give you 625? 25. Okay. So now remember, this is difference of squares. So this is A, this is B. So what's the formula? A plus B, A minus B. So now I'm just going to come in and I'm going to say, okay, this becomes this plus this, and this minus this. Now, it doesn't matter what order you put those in, but there's your factors. Now, they're not linear, so I have to ask myself, can I keep going? Okay, they are squares. Do you guys see how those are perfect squares? If it's a sum of squares, you're done. There is no sum of squares formula, so the first factor is done. But this one is what squared minus what squared again. Well, what multiplies together to give you 4z squared? 2z and 5. So now this one factors into what? So same as the other one, you go a plus b, a minus b. So it's just 2z plus 5, and then don't forget to bring this factor down. Don't lose that factor that you already did up there. It's 4z squared plus 25. Now, the back two are linear. The front one is a sum of squares, not a sum of cubes. So we're done. That help you, AJ? Okay. Anybody else on 31? Yes. Linear means the degree is 1. So those have an exponent of 1. Okay. Anybody else? All right. Next one. Determine whether the binomial is a factor of the polynomial. So they want to know, is this a factor of that? So what do? Use synthetic division and see if your remainder is what? 0. If the remainder is 0, it's a factor. If it's not 0, it's not a factor. Now, the only thing you have to do is set this equal to 0. So what do you put on the outside? 6. What do you put on the outside here? Okay. Are you guys good with 38 and 40? And was 42? No, 42 was factor. Okay, so these three, not the last three? No, sorry. These ones were a factor. Did I give you 46?
Yeah.
Did I give you 42?
Yeah.
Okay, so these three were show that it is a factor and then factor completely. So it starts out like the two before, where you're going to show that that's a factor. So they're telling you the remainder will be what? 0. So what do I put when I do my synthetic division? What goes on the outside? 5. What goes on the inside? 1, -5, -9, 45. Okay, so when you do all of your synthetic division here, this is 42, you get 1, 0, -9, and a remainder of 0. Okay, are you guys good with synthetic division? So what does that mean? That means that when you multiply this by this answer, you get that polynomial. So what is this answer? Well, you started with x to the third, so this would be 1x squared plus no x is -9. Don't forget this factor. It's what? Now, can we factor that further? Mm-hmm. What does this? This is a difference of what? Squares. This is x and 3. Now, again, most of you won't write that green part. You'll just come right down and tell me x plus 3, x minus 3. Okay? Do you need 45 or 46? 44? I'm sorry, 44 or 46? Okay? And then the last two were just factor again. Just factor. Okay? On this one, since we haven't done one of these yet today, do you have a GCF? Do you have a GCF? Nope. You have a difference, and it's a binomial, so you have to check. Is it a difference of squares or difference of cubes? This is what cubed minus what cubed. So what multiplied together to give you 8m to the third? 2m. And what multiplied together to give you 343? 7. So now, using your SOAP formula, same sign. So you just write what to start? 2m minus 7. Same sign. Now, it's going to be the opposite sign after you square this. But you have to square 2m. So what do you get? 4m squared. Opposite sign. Same. Opposite. Now, multiply these together. 14m. Always positive. Square that. This is always not factorable. The binomial, you have to check, but it's linear, so you're done. You do have to know the sum and difference of cubes formula for the quiz tomorrow. And then 50, are you guys good? Okay, so what I'd like you to do, leave those papers out for the people who are absent, and then we'll be coming back. They're not absent, but at that meeting. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to get out a piece of paper that you're going to do the review on. Yes, sir.
The second one's never factorable.
No.
So you just use the soap whenever it's a difference of cubes.
Yes, do it again. Take out a separate sheet of paper. What's that?
Do you use the soap when it's a difference of cubes and not squares? That's how you know when to use the soap formula.
Correct. Difference of squares is A plus B, A minus B.
Okay.
Soap is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Ava, is everybody coming back soon? You're just getting t-shirts? Okay. All right. So, guys, on School of G, I am going to post two things. This video, so you can scroll past the going over the homework, and you can get straight to the review. I am also going to have a blank version of this and a key version of this. So I would suggest, maybe looking at both of those. Your quiz is 52 points tomorrow. Okay, so it's kind of a big quiz. I can do whatever it is that you guys want me to do, but I'm feeling like it's the new stuff that you feel the least comfortable with. Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Can you show me a Pascal's triangle, please? I missed both those days.
Okay, yeah, but because you missed those days, and did you watch the video?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah,
I know how to
okay.
do it.
Okay. All right. We'll do a Pascal's triangle. Let's find one of those. That's a good thing to do, too. So let me find one of those. Okay. Let me see. Do I have two Pascal's triangles on here or one? Let's not do this one. Let's do the harder one. Multiply using Pascal's triangle. Okay, just so you guys, this is number 9B. 9B. So those of you who are doing this again tonight, this is 9B. So solve, multiply using Pascal's triangle. All right. So since it's being raised to the third power, how many terms am I going to have? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, Pascal's triangle, it will not be given to you. You're going to start with a 1, then what? 1, 1, then 1. Now, I need the one that has a what in it? 3. So 1, 3, 3, 1. So those are my coefficients. And do you know how to make that triangle? Okay, 1's on the end. And then you just add to get to, and then you just add, yeah. Okay, and then the next row would be what?
4,
No.
or 6, 1, or 4, and then 1.
Good. All right. All right. So now my coefficients are 1, 3, 3, 1. All right. Now I start with this term, which is 2x. How many 2x's do I have here? 3. How many 2x's do I have here? How many 2x's do I have here? And how many there? 0. Those of you who are coming back, I just started the review. This is the first problem. I did some homework, went over a couple of the homework problems, and then just started the review. Okay. All right. Now the second one, I have a what? -3. So how many -3s here? How many here? How many here? And how many here? Make sure you get your t-shirt if you don't get it. Let me know it's here and I'll get it for you. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to simplify this. So what do you have to be careful with here that you guys always forget? This is actually 1 times what? 2 to the third times x to the third. So what do you have as your first term? 8x to the third. Now, what do you have here? 3 times 2 squared times x squared times -3. So yes, you're right. You're going to do 3 times 2 squared, which is 4, times -3. And what do you guys get there? Not -30.
6. No?
Yes, you do. -36 x squared. All right. How about this one? What are you guys going to multiply here? 3 times 2 times -3 squared, or times 9. So what's 6 times 9? 54. And then what is 1 times negative 3 to the third? Negative 27. All right. Questions there? Did that help you, Mitch?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So those again who are just coming back from AP, I just did that one problem. Next, I want to go ahead and do some of the stuff. Not that one. I want to find the new stuff. You guys are good there, right? Let's go to this one. Factor completely. Go. Huh? Oh, you just following along. Doesn't matter. I have it up here. Factor completely. I want you to do it on your paper. So Jarrett, what's our first rule of factoring?
GCF.
And when are you going to pull out as your GCF?
3x squared.
3x squared. So when you factor out 3x squared, what is left?
X to the 6th.
Uh-huh.
5x to the 3rd. Plus 6.
Okay, perfect. Is everybody good with the GCF? Now, what's left, Jarrett, is a trinomial. And A is 1. Now, you have to ask yourself, it's not x squared, it's x to the 6th, but does it follow the pattern we can factor? 6, 3, constant. Yeah. So, it's the same rules that apply. A is 1. You're going to ask yourself what?
What adds to give you 5 that multiplies to give you 6?
Adds to 5 that multiplies to give you 6. So, what multiplies to give you 6? That adds to give you 5.
3 and 2.
3 and 2. So, the only thing is, it's not x plus 3 and x plus 2, because that doesn't give me x to the 6th. It would be x to the third and x to the 3rd. And then don't forget to bring down your GCF. Don't forget, you cannot divide by the GCF because you do not have an equation. Now, you have to check if you're done or not. Guys, these are cubes. So do you have a sum of cubes? Well, I like the first term, but is 3 a perfect cube? Is 2 a perfect cube? So are you finished? Questions there? Yes?
What would happen if the first term was off? The first exponent?
You can't factor it, so I won't. It'll be like this. It'll be even. It'll be in that 10, 5 constant, 8, 4 constant.
Why don't you bring the 6 down to like where it's 6x?
X to the 6, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, because when you FOIL these two to get back, you would multiply this times this, and what do you get? Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Let's try that one. Those of you who are just coming back, check your homework. I went over a couple of the homework problems on the video, and then we just started the review. We are not going to get through all of this review. You're going to need to look at the rest of it at home tonight. Okay, Natalie, do you have a GCF?
No.
Nope. What do you have?
Difference of squares.
Yes, you have a difference of 2 squares. What are your 2 squares?
1 and 9. 1 and 3.
Okay, hang on a second. So what multiplies together to give you x to the 4th?
X squared.
And what multiplies together to give you not 81?
9.
Okay, So here's your A, here's your B. A lot of you will skip this step and go straight to the next step. What does that factor into?
X squared minus 9, X squared plus 9.
Okay, are you guys good with x squared minus 9, x squared plus 9? But you got to ask yourself, am I finished?
No.
Okay, because this one here, is that one done? The one I just underlined? Because it's a sum of squares. But Natalie, this one is a difference of 2 more what? This is what squared and what squared?
X squared and Y squared.
So what does that factor into?
X minus 3, X plus 3.
And then don't forget to bring down the,
X squared plus 9.
you cannot do that one because it's a plus of a square. And now, are we done? Yes, the first 2 are linear. The last one is a square, sum of squares. Again, it does not matter what order your factors are in. Okay, I think I've got everybody back now. Check your homework. Go back and watch the video just so you guys know what I've done so far. I did a couple homework problems at the beginning that people asked for at the beginning. We did a couple there. And then we started talking about the review, and we went to the first one that we did, which was I've lost it. There it is. First problem that they asked me to do was a Pascal's triangle. So I did Pascal's expansion. And then we started with the new stuff. All right, let's try this one. And I checked everybody's homework, and everybody got a 10 unless I wrote something on your homework to indicate otherwise. Quinn, what's your first rule of factoring?
GCF.
Does this have a GCF?
X.
X. So when you pull out an X, what's left?
X to the third. And then 125.
Plus 125. Okay, so now you got to look at what's left. It's a binomial. You have to ask yourself, do I have a difference of squares, a difference of cubes, or a sum of cubes?
Difference of cubes. Or sum of cubes.
Sum of cubes. So this is what cubed plus what cubed. What multiplies together to give you x to the third?
X.
And 125?
5.
All right, so now I'm going to bring the x down because I don't want to forget it. And you're going to use your SOAP formula. So same, what's the first binomial? X plus 5. And now Quinn.
X squared.
Uh-huh.
Plus 5x.
But same, opposite.
Minus 5x.
Minus 5x
Plus 25.
plus 25. Now, this is not factorable. There's nothing that multiplies to give you 25 that adds to give you negative 5. And these are linear. You're done. All right. How'd you guys do on the factoring review?
Good.
Are we good with those? Okay. The next part from the new stuff. Those 3 from the new stuff. And this is from the new stuff. Show that x plus 4 is a factor. Then factor completely. I even hint, use synthetic division to show your work. Use synthetic division. So you have to use synthetic division to show your work. Okay, you can't just use other factoring methods. Because I make these work out pretty, you could use other methods, but they're not going to work out pretty after break. So I'm starting out easy. So what do I do to show that this is a factor of f of x? What do I do? Synthetic division, okay? Is it in standard form? Is this in standard form? Do I have any holes? No. So what are my coefficients? 1, 4, -9, -36. Okay? What goes on the outside when you set that equal to 0? -4. All right. So now what do you do with a 1? Everybody, bring it down. Multiply, you get what? Add, you get. Multiply, you get. Add, you get. Multiply, you get. Add, you get. So did you just do the first part? Did you show that it was a factor? Because the remainder is 0. Now use your synthetic division to factor. So they already said here's your first factor. So what's the first factor? X plus 4. And when you multiply by what? This answer. Well, you started with x to the third, so this would be x to the second, plus no x is... Guys, if I redistribute this, what do I get? X to the third minus 9x plus 4x squared minus 36. Do I get the original problem? Yeah. I'm not done though, because the first one is linear, but the second one is a what? Difference of squares. So what does the second, hopefully you guys are good with this one, what does that factor into? X plus 3 minus 3. It's a difference of squares. Now they're all linear. Again, it does not matter what order you have those in. Questions there? Okay. 17. Determine whether this is a factor. What do we do? Put in what here? 2. -1. 0. 4. What goes on the outside? -3. Bring down the 2. Multiply, we get what? Add. Multiply. Well, careful. Add. Multiply. -63. Add. -50. No. Is this one a factor? Why not? Are we good? Are we good? Okay. So now let's take a look. What else could we? Let me show you what else is on the quiz, and you can tell me what you need from me. Rewrite in standard form. Identify the leading coefficient, degree, and the type, and the end behavior. Oh, let's review that. Type. If the degree is 0, what's the type? Constant. Degree of 1. Linear. 2. Quadratic. 3. Cubic. 4. Quartic. 5. Quintic. Okay, good. And behavior. If it's even, then both of the ends go what? Up. If it's even and positive, they go up. If it's even and negative, they go down. If it's odd, they go in opposite. So if it's odd and positive, they go this way. Odd and negative, that way. Are you guys good with that behavior? Okay. How about this one? Ooh. Just tell me whether it's even or odd and positive or negative. What's this one? Even and... Because they both go. How about this one? Odd, because they're going in opposite, and questions there.
Wait, so there are these graphs like this?
Yes, graphs like this. And you just have to tell me. Okay, guys, how close is this to the quiz?
Money.
Exactly.
Okay. Add. Can you add?
Absolutely.
Just combine like terms. What do you have to do when you subtract? What do you have to do with this thing?
Distribute.
Distribute, and then combine what?
Like terms.
Like terms. Okay. Ooh, what does it mean when you see a binomial squared?
Foil.
Yeah, you have to write it how many times?
Twice.
And you have to
Foil.
foil. All right, are we good there? Okay. Then we got to this one. Oh, this one you just, first you give everything a what? 2A, then you give everything and then you combine like terms. Okay. This is a Pascal's triangle with an easier one. We already did a harder one. Long division. Should we do one? Okay, let's run it. Let's be careful with this. Why did I say be careful with this when I went to go put this on the inside? Not in standard form. If it's not in standard form, do you think it'll be this way on the quiz? Where are you going?
Get my bracelet on.
Oh, yay! Now, go ahead. Have fun.
Did you not tell me?
No, I mean, I had no idea why I was packing up. I was like ready to go, like, what are you doing? All right.
Oh.
What did you drop? It sounded like you dropped, like,
No, my keychain hit my.
he's just stuff. Hi, Mrs. Case. Thank you so much. She's back there. Thank you. All right, so what would this be in standard form, guys?
Oh, 8x squared.
Not 8x, 8x cubed plus what? 6x squared plus what?
0.
0x plus 7. And then what goes on the outside?
X squared.
Okay. Now, what would you multiply x squared by to get to 8x cubed? 8x. Now what are we going to do? Multiply. When you do, you give it to both. So what's 8x times 8x squared?
8x cubed.
And then plus what?
16x.
16x. So I'm going to move that over here. Now, guys, I do not care if you bring a colored pencil or if you want a colored pencil, let me know. Okay, because what are you going to do next? Come in and what? Subtract. So you're going to change those signs. What happens to the 8x to the thirds?
Cancel.
Cancel. What are you going to bring down? 6x squared. Right here. Negative 16x. Plus 7. What are you going to multiply by now? 6. Just a 6. Distribute. What do you guys get? 6x squared plus 12. What are you going to do now? Change the signs. That becomes a negative. That becomes a negative. If it was a negative, it would become a positive. What happens to the 6x squareds?
Cancel that.
What do you bring down?
Negative 16.
Negative 16x minus 5. Can we go any further? No, the degree here is less than the degree there. So, what is my answer? Well, I have what up there?
8x plus 6.
Now, when you have one term, you can put minus the term. But since I have two, I'm just going to put plus. My remainder is what? Over my divisor. And we're done. Okay. The next problem is divide using synthetic division. Okay, we'll just set it up. What would go on the outside?
Negative 2.
What would go on the inside?
1, 0.
0. Now, guys, when you get your answer, how many x's would your answer be? X squared, because you started with x to the third. Okay, is everybody good with synthetic division? Again, all of these answers are on nice and pretty on Schoology. And then the last one that I didn't talk about was using synthetic substitution. So when you use synthetic substitution, what do you put outside? It tells you x equals. So what are you putting out here? What are you putting in here? Be careful. 1, 3, 0, negative 6, and then whatever you get there is your answer. You could check it by doing what? Plugging it back in. Now, we've at least talked about each problem, done some of the hard ones. I would encourage you guys to look at this again tonight. Okay? The blank and the key are both on Schoology. Good job today. Are you guys glad we reviewed in this method?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody who was out for AP meeting have questions on the homework?